Flight boss, bitch, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Antares move. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And we're gonna talk about force, but on a deeper level. Because we all know in third dimensional terms what force represents. Any forcefulness. Women, I know y'all be around men that's too forceful. Men, I know y'all be around women that may be a little too masculine or a little too overwhelming to the point that they demand the dick. And your ass probably get scared and your ass get intimidated and shit like that because you probably thinking in your head that you may not, the way she acting, she may be so experienced that you may not be on her level, so you may be getting scared and nervous that you may not be able to satisfy her in that type of way. So you get off into other elements and start to get intimidated and shit like that, because that could go into many different levels. You walk into a woman's house, she got nice couches, nice dinette set and things of that nature. A motherfucking nigga gonna be motherfucking intimidated. He gonna be like, well, damn, what the fuck can I offer this chick? Let me get the fuck out of here. So that's a chick being, too demanding or too forceful or too overwhelming or too masculine in different ways. And then when we got it on the flip side, women, I know y'all be around them men that may be too forceful. The men that tell you anything and say anything, and so you know what I'm saying, where we that becomes the energy signature of you feeling like they're too overwhelming or they're trying to come on too strongly. So for the most part, that's kind of giving you the common sense of where force actually comes from a higher level, from a fourth, fifth, or sixth dimensional level. Force comes from actually your imagination manifested. So that's what force actually is. Imagination manifested. So for the most part, anything caused transformation or movement, you're going to see the color spectrum of red. So if there's a lot of energy or a lot of attention being paid towards high volatile scenarios or a lot of passion or anger or a lot of intent, willpower, motivation, or anytime, or just like a lot of passion, anytime there's a lot of attention being paid to that, and if there's a large grouping of people paying attention to that same energy signature at one specific at one specific time, all y'all might see red in the air. But for the most part, when you get highly upset and mad, all you may see is red, depending on how mad and how volatile and how high vibrational wise that circumstance and situation is. You know what I'm saying? That's going to put you in a circumstance where you like, God damn, all I see is red, so I ain't know what to do. Everybody was dead. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, when we talk about force, this comes from imagination being manifested. And everything that you see that's moving or has some type of redshift to it is a creation or a manifestation based upon an idea or a concept. So you need to understand that also. So when we talk about force, let's bring it up a notch. Now, here's the thing, right? Because in the third dimension, all you guys try to force circumstances and situations. So that's you jumping ahead of the gun. That's you taking 2 steps. That ain't you taking 1 step and letting God or the universe take another. So you're forcing your way into a scenario. Now in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, this plays out as you forcing yourself into a space, into a location, a different state, a different city, a different state of being. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, here's the thing. This is why it's important to let things play out in your life. You know what I'm saying? Let things play out, and only force was needed to be forced out of your life. Because when we start to think about force, it's actually backed and supported by masculine energy. And masculine energy is pushing out and transformation. So that energy is really only supposed to be used for getting rid of things. You know what I'm saying? Or changing a circumstance in your life. For an example, let's utilize Mars or the chakra or the chakra that's getting down towards the gut. One of those chakras and shit like that. One of the root chakras and shit. So let's talk about it like that, right? Anytime you're passionately involved in something, right? But say you have a person, place, or thing playing as a road blockage or playing as a scenario of something you have to get through. For an example, you may be trying to do something and somebody's trying to talk you out of it. You may be trying to go somewhere, but your car fuck up. You may be trying to party, but you have a bunch of party poopers around you. So for the most part, this will play out as a scenario of you starting to feel like your passion is being threatened. You know what I'm saying? You start to feel like your passion or your attentions is being threatened. So you'll start to feel like your Mars energy or that chakra energy is being threatened. And you're not able to freely do your intentions or your alternative motives or what you're passionately into. And once that start to play out, you'll start to develop anger or aggression towards these people, places, and things that's playing as a road blockage of blocking your passion or your intentions or things you intend to do. So you'll start to develop anger and passion, and that causes redshift because you want to transform the circumstance and situation that you are in order to do what you want to do passionately, freely. You know what I'm saying? And just think about anything. Sit back and think about anything that you want to do. That's what everybody is participating in. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has passions and motivations and alternative motives, intentions, aka Mars, aka imaginations, aka creations you want to bring into this world. Right? So everybody has a small portion of redshift within them. And depending on their spirit and how much energy they put into it, that's how much they can emit, to the point that they give off this energy to others. Like, this motherfucker got spirit, or this motherfucker passionate, or this motherfucker aggressive, or this motherfucker angry, or this motherfucker, you see what I'm saying? Depending on what spectrum of Mars you're playing on at the moment, or what's that chakra or that energy signature, or just the redshift or force in general, utilizing force. Let's just call it force, you know? But so if y'all don't like the word Mars because of Plato's and Socrates and shit, and Aristotle and shit, we could just call that planet or that star the force star. That's the star of force. You know what I'm saying? The sun would be the star of sight. We don't even got to call it the sun no more. We could say that's the star of sight. That's the star of seeing and action. The moon, we could say that's the Merkaba star. You see what I'm saying? That's why I never had a name, a Greek name, or none of that nature. You see what I'm saying? Mercury, we could say that's the intellect star. You know what I'm saying? We could just change the shit. You know what I'm saying? Mars is the forceful star. You know what I'm saying? That's the star that's carrying the amount of energy of forcefulness and shit like that. So, you know, force comes from the imagination first and your ability to will something in. You know what I'm saying? How much passion or you have is how much you're going to express or that be manifested externally. AKA people verbally or see it off you, and then AKA you manifest things or people, places, and things in your life that represent that energy signature in some way, shape, or form. So here's the big thing, what I really want to break down when we're talking about force in general, because it is a tricky thing, because we're in a third dimension right now where you have a bunch of imaginations and passions and intentions and alternative motives and things that you are motivated to do based upon what have been placed here before you, aka other intellectual beings, Galactic Federation of Light, and these energy signatures and shapes and forms and businesses that they're in corporations that they're creating and things of that nature. And you're looking at these things like you want to be a part of it or you want to create something like it. Like for the most part, like you got the conscious community. Everybody want to get their own land and things of that nature, which what they're not understanding is they're just participating in the same energy signature of whoever they feel like the oppressor is, which that's a whole another video I need to get into, because that's a whole lost indoctrination itself. But for the most part, getting to the scenario, you need to know, utilizing the force energy, you need to be careful and start to understand how to let things play out and only utilize the forceful energy to change or move something that's playing as a road blockage or obstacle in your life at the moment. And then you have to pay attention to that also because everything is not a road blockage. Don't just be sitting back now as soon as you hear this and watch Archangel Uriel and watch this video and be like, okay, and then you looking at everything as a road blockage. No, you need to start to be careful and pay attention to what is a road blockage or what's actually is a helping hand for you to don't go burn a bridge or you to go off a cliff when you're going for your passions and things of that nature. So you need to see who's in your life and how they're resonating in your life, and based upon alignments and things of that nature also. But just getting into the forceful energy, here's why it's important to only kind of try to only utilize that when you're trying to change something in your life, so you can freely be motivated to do something. Because here's the thing, right? In the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, it is you forcefully trying to move yourself in another space. Now, in the 3rd dimension, when you're not letting things play out in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, that's things like, okay, when you're having an imagination, right, at its smallest state before it's expressed, right, that's the smallest redshift. That's the smallest force. So right now, it's just an imagination that hasn't even emitted as a full imagination yet. I mean, you haven't even added no ideas from the frequency vibration you're resonating with from other beings. You didn't add no concepts to it. You didn't construct it. You didn't analyze it. You didn't put no square to that circle, aka utilize your left brain for that right brainless energy that you're utilizing. So you didn't do any of that yet. Right? So at this time, it's just look at that as a space, but that space is still blank, like a canvas. You didn't even color it yet. You just have an imagination of the canvas, aka you see the space, but you didn't put anything in that space yet. So for the most part, the elements that's needed for the right recipe to make out of that space isn't accumulated there yet. So that's like in the third dimension, you not letting things play out. You not waiting for the right phone calls. You not taking precaution. You not considering circumstances and situations. You just going saying, fuck it, I want to do what I passionately want to do in the third dimension. So you just forcefully go into something. Now in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, your spirit is moving into a space that you imagining. But then all the shit that you imagining, those elements that make up that imagination isn't fully in that space yet. So you end up going into that space naked. So when you go into that space, you're not experiencing the imagination how you thought that space was going to be because you didn't gradually go into that space. You forced your way into that space. So in the third dimension, it's going to play out as the situation didn't play out as planned. A circumstance or a situation happened that you didn't want to happen. Like, okay, look at it like this. Okay, this for all my street motherfuckers, right? Look at it like this, right? Say things been going good for a whole month, right? And then it comes a time where you got low, and then now you calling your connect, and then your connect may not necessarily have what you need, or may not even be picking up at the moment because they may not necessarily have it. So right now you're scrambling, right? So boom, instead of being patient and letting things play out and then jumping into your own spirit, like not getting washed up by all the vibes and energies from everybody who calling you, because you know how you'll be like, man, I gotta hurry up and get my shit. So you end up getting washed and getting affected and possessed by other people's spirit and shit, and end up dictating your actions to the point that you end up calling people you didn't normally call. People you called once in a blue moon. Other people you barely called. So for the most part, you didn't let the situation play out and wait. And then you forced yourself into a space, aka you forced yourself into reing up with somebody that you do once in a blue moon. Aka when you get it, the bag that you get it's fucked up. You didn't get the deal that you usually could get because you didn't wait for the regular person that you usually call on a day-to-day basis, or it may be some fucked up shit. May not even be no shit that Athena even want to come back and get. You know what I'm saying? So or maybe some shit that they done blown up from the dragon and put some shit in that shit and blew it up. So for the most part, now you done fucked your whole situation up, right? And then you done went to got that. Then your motherfucking connect that you usually call every other day call you 5 minutes later. Right after you done rushed yourself and got some shit and blew your fucking money. Now you're going to have to do some new karate chopping Mr. Miyagi shit just to get your money back. Might have to scheme a little bit. Might have to motherfucker sell some motherfuckers created it a little bit. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to do some fucked up shit to get your money back. And the thing's going to take a little longer than it would have than if your ass would have just sat back and waited an extra 10 minutes. You see what I'm saying? So, and off of all my females out there, that's the same scenario that you got going on when you need a babysitter. Say you want to go out and you need a motherfucking babysitter and shit like that, right? So, you know, usually you call your mama or your grandmama, you know what I'm saying? But now they ain't picking up the phone or something like that, or your mama got to work or some shit like that. So now you scrambling. You're like, damn, this nigga trying to take me on a date. This nigga got money. Oh my shit, man, what the fuck is going on, man? I got to get out here. So you end up calling your motherfucking auntie or calling your motherfucking sister and shit, knowing that your sister be on motherfucking Facebook and Instagram on her phone 24/7. Her kids be in the goddamn street. She can't even cook no fucking rice at all. She burned the fucking rice and shit in the goddamn pot because her fucking eyes is focused on Facebook and Instagram and motherfucking loving hip hop. So, but you already know that because you be cussing her out about that because her kids almost got hit by a goddamn car and shit. But your ass is blinded because you in a rush because you want to go on this motherfucking date or go out with your friends and shit because your friend then got set y'all up with some double or triple date, fifth wheel type shit. So for the most part, you didn't say fuck it and then dropped your kids off over your auntie or over your drunk ass auntie's house or your reckless ass Facebook and Instagram infested ass sister, possessed ass sister. Therefore, boom, you fucking did that, went out. Now you getting a phone call talking about your kid and broke her wrist or your son then broke his finger or something like that because they was climbing on cabinets or something because they wasn't being supervised. And your ass knew that. Now don't be going cussing out your drunk ass auntie or cussing out your sister because your motherfucking ass knew that. You knew beforehand that they couldn't be trusted like that, and they asked your kid only need to be around them just doing birthdays or just when your ass need to go quick grocery shopping real quick. Not for no motherfucking going out when it's fucking past 10 or 11 p.m. at night. Now you know better. You know better. So for the most part, that's what you need to understand, that you have in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, you have forced yourself into a space that you have imagined, But that space was just a canvas. You didn't even wait and let the accumulation remind you. You are a realm of reality that you are still relating with others. So this world don't revolve around you, where your world do, but you're still in a world of a collective conscious. So you still have to relate, rotate, be relative, just like the fourth and fifth and sixth dimensional shapes and forms you see every goddamn day. You have to do, you're doing that on a smaller scale. So this is your relative to your circumstances and situations and relatives and relationships and things of that nature. Dealing with that redoing, that reword, repeating, reunite, rotation and reiterating and things of that nature. And that's how you could correlate the memory and dealing with Akashic records and things of that nature. But for the most part, you know, in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, you ain't did nothing but force yourself into a space and location that you thought that was a good direction to go in, but you ain't let the thing manifest. You ain't let that path, that portal accumulate. You ain't allowed the things you're relative to based upon the realm of reality that you have to bounce back and forth with. You ain't let those, you ain't give those time. You know what I'm saying? You gotta give things time too. Everything ain't about your time. You gotta let other people time and other energies and realms of realities get that time too. You ain't give that no time. You said, fuck it, I'm gonna go into that space. Now nothing was even there in that space for you to accumulate. AKA in the third dimension, the shapes and forms that was accumulated in that space that didn't even get to manifest, you only got to cherry pick from that shit. And 9 times out of 10, it ain't what you wanted. So in the third dimension, it's a scenario or a situation that didn't play out in your way. You didn't want that. You didn't want it to play out that way. So be careful how you use your motherfucking force. You see what I'm saying? Force, look, everything... You need to utilize everything like it's your servant. You need to utilize everything. Look, God ain't served shit. God utilized what God, look, even with Lucifer or the solar plexus or whatever, you even in your fucking Bible, what it said, God made everything for him and through him. It didn't say God made everything to do things for it. This is why in your life, anytime you are a lazy motherfucker in a circumstance or a situation where everybody has to constantly do things for you, you feel bad. Everybody around you feel like they have to say something. Why is that? That's a natural spiritual state. That ain't got... A lot of times, that don't even have anything to do with physicality or the third dimension. It's just when it starts to manifest in the third dimension, it'll manifest in the ways of a person not having anything. A person needing everybody else to get from point A to point B. But spiritually in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, that's your ass feeling like you need to serve some type of illusion that you are wrapped up in. AKA, you want to serve your habits. You want to serve your circumstance or situation. You want to be passive. And you need to motherfucker understand that you need to be in the energy signature of God. Motherfucker. And God created everything for it. So everything you manifest in your life, you manifested that for you. So if you are lost and the people, places, and things you have manifested in your life are overwhelming you, then you need to understand that you weren't in your godly state in these situations before you have manifested them in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension. And in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, these are things in their more pure state. So you can catch it there before you catch it here. And you can save a lot of dumbass experiences. And this is what my channel is about. See what I'm saying? I mean that from my heart. That's why I wear this here. People try to separate the star. They try to say this is a 5-point star. This is a star. And this is a 5-pointed star, like it's something separate. Y'all need to get out of the shit y'all lost in. This frequency vibration musical dance we're on in this dimension is like, for an example, say you got a cup of water, right? And you're playing some music. You're gonna see the water bounce. Now in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, this is the esoteric rainbow waters that you're accumulated and birthed out of. Now this is going on a higher water scale. Now, the higher musical scale. So the higher musical scale, how this water and shape and forms is being created is the 5-pointed star. So this is why everything in this realm of reality that you are in at the moment is created with a 5 type of realm of reality energy signature. So even though you got a head, 2 arms, 2 legs, you could just look at the head. You got 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth. You could just, and then you could break it all the way down. You got a heart, 2 lungs. Then you got, you could break it all the way down. All the way down. You know what I'm saying? To the point that you got 5 fingers, 5 toes. You know what I'm saying? So how you was the rotation, the current, and the music of the frequency vibration, when in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, how we look at it is the shapes and forms that y'all taking is creating a 5-point star. When you put a bunch of sand on a table and play some music, you're gonna see a bunch of stars. When you sitting back looking at an ocean, you're looking at the universe. You're looking at a smaller scale, micro version of the macro universe. I don't see why y'all don't understand that. The ocean is showing you a smaller version of what y'all seeing in the sky. So when you see all the sparkly water and shit like that, look up in the sky. What do you think that is? So once you start to look at water bubbles and particles and shit like that, you looking at a larger version of that in the sky. So you a larger version of that, so you like a larger version of a fish. So you think you walking on something, this reality that we're creating, you think you're walking on something hard and concrete. But in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, y'all all are like floating clouds to me. That's the shape and form y'all take. And y'all all stay in space. Y'all all make up countries and shit like that. But that's a whole nother video. But just I'm telling y'all to just be careful how you use your force. Make sure before you utilize your passion and motivation, make sure you're looking at what's in front of you. Because what's in front of you could turn that passion and motivation into anger and aggression. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you'll be able to decipher what people, places, and things you need to utilize the bad and the good attributes of Mars towards. And therefore you'll be very careful on how to use your force. So your force should be only utilized to transform or move something out of your way. And move, not just move things third dimensional wise, like moving this, like moving something third dimensional wise as far as the physical manifestation of it, but fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional wise also, you know what I'm saying, moving or changing a concept or idea you may have had, or imagination you have had, or just the actual concept of me having an imagination like, okay, I'm about to move this lighter, you know what I'm saying, and then actually bring that into a realm of reality and actually cause the redshift of moving this lighter. That's why, you know what I'm saying, the faster something moves, it won't appear to be moving anymore, but you will start to see just that whole, like, action itself, you'll start to see red, you know what I'm saying, if you understand what I'm saying. But, Flight Boss bitch in this motherfucker, be careful and let the force be with you. Air.